Wallpaper. Updated January 20th, 2023. Part 1. Introduction. In a quaint region of the metaverse, sheep and wolves on the blockchain compete for a tempting prize of wool, with deadly high stakes. Following a long journey through the original wolf game, risky game, cave game, and alpha game, the flock arrives at the Genesis lands. The sheep aim to live a simple life on the farm, collecting resources and breeding their next generation. But the wolves have plans to loot their spoils, steal their young, and sabotage the farm. Players must strategize to build their domain, expand their packs, and win as much wool as they can. The TLDR. The initial version of the full wolf game is here. The game and economy are living, breathing ecosystems. The game is simple to play, yet brimming with choices, so be strategic. The 20,000 Genesis lands are open for play. Each land is part of one of the 101 communities. Stealing is back, with entirely novel mechanics. Wolves can now actively attempt to steal Gen 2 sheep who are being bred in barns. Sheep can aim to thwart their efforts. 5 new in-game, off-chain resources are introduced: chops, grass, stone, water, and wood. Wool remains the sole utility and governance token of Wolf Game and the only on-chain resource. The game uses a hybrid Web3, Web2 architecture. Your NFTs live on the blockchain, and gameplay takes place off-chain. Why the game is innovative. Prior to Wolf Game, few blockchain games had been built with crypto natives in mind. The release of the original Wolf Game in November of 2021 introduced crypto natives to a new paradigm in gaming centered around risk, game theory, and community. The full Wolf Game is built for crypto-native gamers and non-gamers alike, with paths towards expansion to a larger audience. Its design unites learnings from the start of development of the original game up until now. Low time requirement, high thought requirement. Wolf Game is simple to play and requires little of your time, but requires much thought to compete effectively. Players of Risky Game and Alpha Game experience this phenomenon with very few choices available. Now, multiply your range of choices by 10 for the full game. Which community should I collect water in? When is the right time to remove my sheep from the barn? Should I build a den or a bathhouse? Shall I share or be greedy? The list goes on. Every action you take will ultimately impact your wool winnings. Nothing is superfluous, nothing is for decoration, and there is no free lunch. The game also incorporates a new type of gameplay with asynchronous PvP game theory. By not requiring users to be online at the same time for head-to-head competition, users are more able to compete based on their availability. They also must be more strategic and plan for a variety of scenarios. Ubiquitous novel macro and micro game theory. The outcome and impact of every choice you make in Wolf Game is dependent on the strategy and choices of other players, and social dynamics. The game includes both macro-level game theory and micro games centered on human psychology and economic. A primary example of this is sheep breeding, a multiplayer PvP feature of the game. While many breeding mechanics in NFTs and elsewhere are predictable, sheep breeding is gamified, and your newly bred sheep, itself a mintable NFT, can be stolen by other players. At a macro level, sheep must be selective about when and where to breed based on barn availability, which is determined by landowners and sheep. Breeding fees, determined by landowners, wolf population and status, determined by wolf owners, opportunity cost, and market dynamics. Wolves must be selective about when to attempt to steal a Gen 2 and which barn to target based on many of the same factors and others. Macro game theory transitions to the micro when a wolf attempts to steal a sheep and finds itself in a head-to-head game. Another example, when a wolf attempts to loot a sheep, an asynchronous head-to-head game is played between the two players. The game will go live with 2 of these head-to-head microgames. Players must utilize information about the game state and historical information to inform their decision-making. At every step of the game, all players' choices are interlinked. Player-guided, evolving economy with active landowners. As in real-world economies, supply and demand will determine many of the values in the game economy. Community tax rates will be voted on by landowners. Fees to breed and recharge in structures will also be set by them. In many games of the past, landowners could simply collect fees passively. In Wolf Game, landowners who do not keep up with the times will falter, impacting not only themselves but their wider communities. Furthermore, taxes of landowners who do not engage with the game will be burned. Off-chain resources and in-game automated market maker, the AMM. Designing high-performing, single-token game economies is difficult, and multi-token economies are prone to user confusion, low liquidity, and high transaction costs. Wolfgame aims to unite the best of both worlds. It includes a single-token economy centered around wool, with 5 off-chain resources: chops, grass, stone, water, and wood. These off-chain resources are exchangeable for one another in the in-game AMM, providing high liquidity, no transaction costs, and the same price discovery algorithm that we are all familiar with. Diverse game and metagame experiences. Gameplay in Wolfgame is not only about the video game. It is also about the wider crypto metagame played around the various tokens one can hold, the communities we are part of, the dissemination of information, and the relationships and alliances we form. Wolfgame is designed to provide innovative game mechanics and a best-in-class metagame experience for its participants, with a vast range of choices for players in both dimensions. Land, wolves, sheep, and farmers each provide unique gameplay experiences and decision points. Technology and transparency. With every architecture decision, we must consider carefully what lives in the Web3 world and what lives in the Web2 world. Factors that influence these decisions include the state of blockchain technology and the associated user experience, innovation and build speed, and desired gameplay mechanics. The original Wolf game was an entirely on-chain game. Then, the initial design of the full game called for use of an L2. Subsequently, the revamped design of the full game called for a Web3, Web2 hybrid architecture with zero knowledge proofs for stealing and looting gameplay. However, we ultimately proceeded with the paradigm of ownership on-chain and gameplay off-chain. We are taking an innovation-first approach to product development and will always be evaluating the on-chain versus off-chain trade-offs as the game and space advance. Currently, gameplay is off-chain for the following reasons. Innovation speed. Expanding the horizons of Web3 gaming and being a leading community in the space require building rapidly. The hybrid Web3, Web2 architecture has enabled faster development and game design improvement. Especially in the early stages of the game, adjustments will be required to create the best experience possible for users. Being able to iterate rapidly without the development overhead of numerous smart contracts will be important. Inherent trust. Trustlessness and transparency are 2 of the core characteristics that make blockchain special. But let us not forget that people join communities specifically because they trust teams like ours. teams who have shown a consistent ability to execute and a desire to innovate. We make decisions every day with the entirety of the Wolf Game community in mind. What game mechanics will come up next? What is the next token? What are the costs of game actions? How will the brand be positioned? These decisions are more impactful than whether the game mechanics themselves live on the blockchain, and we are grateful for the trust of the community. User experience. The feature set of 100% on-chain gaming has its limits. Blockchain transparency creates challenges around some of the most exciting forms of game theory, including gameplay based on hidden information and information asymmetry. These challenges are solvable on the blockchain with time. Evolving economy. The Wolf Game economy is a living, breathing ecosystem designed to function like real-world economies. While the actions of players will have the foremost influence on the economy, the shepherd will also guide the economy and address imbalances. With tuning controls in place, the game can be steered in the right direction. Part 2. Game mechanics. Communities. The game is played on 101 communities made up of the 20,000 Genesis lands. Community 0 is the peak, where wolves breed and recharge. Communities 1 through 100 are the farm, where a majority of gameplay takes place. Each farmed community has a unique set of characteristics. Resource composition. Communities have 4 types of terrain, each of which produce a different resource. Pasture lands produce grass, quarries produce stone, forests produce wood, and lakes produce water. The daily production rate for each resource is firstly dependent on the composition of the underlying lands. For example, a community with more lake surface area than other communities will produce more water, but less of other resources. Resource levels. Players can increase the daily production rate of a resource within a community by permanently contributing their personal resources to community silos. Conversely, wolves can diminish the daily production rate of a resource by sabotaging. Higher alpha wolves are more destructive. At the start of the game, all resources are level 1 and can be increased up to level 4. Defense level. Players can fortify their communities by contributing their personal resources to the community defense silo. On the contrary, wolves can damage defense by sabotaging the community. Higher alpha wolves are more destructive. As defense level increases in a community, wolves must spend more energy to steal, loot, and sabotage. Weather. There are 3 types of weather: sunny, cloudy, and rainy. Weather is independent across communities. Each day at midnight Eastern Standard Time, the weather in a community will be updated according to its 60-day weather forecast. Weather affects collecting resources in 2 ways. The weather on the day that a sheep begins collecting a resource determines which of the 2 looting games will be played, should a wolf loot the sheep. The weather on the day that a sheep chooses to end collecting or is looted by a wolf determines a multiplier on the amount of resources collected. Tax rate. Landowners will continuously vote on a tax rate on all resources collected within their community. Taxes apply to resources collected by sheep in all scenarios, whether looted or not. However, taxes do not apply to resources looted by wolves. The tax rate is equal to the average vote of all the landowners in the community. The distribution of earned taxes to landowners is proportional to the resource composition of their specific lands. Note that the specific land on which collection took place does not affect tax distribution. As a simple example, pretend there is a community with a tax rate of 10% made up of just 2 lands, X and Y. Land X has equal parts pasture lands, quarries, forests, and lakes. Land Y is entirely a forest. Sheep Z chops 100 wood on land X. The owner of land X will receive 2 wood. The owner of land Y will receive 8 wood. Landowners must claim their taxes at least once every 7 days. Any unclaimed taxes will be burned, though there will be a grace period at the time of launch. At the time of claim, landowners may also use a farmer to boost the amount they collect on a single land. Following this, the farmer will need to cool down. To all sellers of land, any unclaimed taxes or wool fees will be transferred to a buyer of your land. Be sure to claim prior to selling. Structures: barns, bathhouses, and dens. To build or upgrade a structure, a landowner must spend the required amount of wool and other resources. At launch, the game has 3 levels for each structure. Higher level structures offer benefits to their users. The game has 3 types of structures. Barns, where a single pair of sheep breed. These can be built only on the farm. Higher level barns reduce breeding time and increase the cost for wolves to thieve. Bathhouses, where a single sheep or wolf recharges their energy. Sheep may only utilize bathhouses on the farm. Wolves may only utilize bathhouses on the peak. Higher level bathhouses reduce the time for sheep and wolves to recharge fully, or offer them jugs with greater amounts of immediate energy. With this in mind, bathhouse owners must choose between one of 2 configurations, attainable by draining or refilling a bathhouse at any time for a wool fee. Filled bathhouses sell exclusive access to sheep or wolves who gradually recharge to full strength with the bathhouse. Retain all wool fees collected. Drained bathhouses. Jugs. Bottle and sell jugs to sheep or wolves who seek immediate energy boosts. Retain only a portion of wool fees collected, as jugs are taxed by the remainder of the community. The wool tax is evenly distributed amongst all community landowners. Jugs are automatically bottled for sale 1 day after the previously bottled jug has been purchased. Only 1 jug is available at a time. Dens, where a single pair of wolves breed. These can be built only on the peak. Higher level dens reduce breeding time. The game enforces and collects a minimum raw wool fee for the use of each type of structure, and landowners must also determine and set their own wool fees for use of their structures. Any eligible player may use any open structure. Energy and movement. Every sheep and wolf must use energy to take actions in the game. To move across community lines costs energy and wool. Movement within a community is free. A sheep or wolf's maximum energy represents their fully charged energy level. Earlier generations have higher maximum energy. A sheep or wolf's current energy represents their current energy level. At the start of the game, and following a long journey to the Genesis lands, each Gen 0 and Gen 1 sheep and wolf have only 50% of their maximum energy. If a sheep or wolf runs out of energy and would like to recharge, they must find an open bathhouse and pay the wool fee set by the owner. Unlike Cave Game, there is currently no automatic regeneration of energy. Breeding sheep and stealing sheep. Gen 0 and Gen 1 sheep can breed the next generation, Gen 2. Wolves, meanwhile, can attempt to steal the new generation of sheep. Gen 2 cannot breed at this time. To begin breeding, 2 Gen 0 or Gen 1 sheep must find an open barn on the farm and spend energy, grass, and wool to enter. For clarity, a Gen 0 and Gen 1 sheep can breed with each other. Sheep breeding has 2 phases. Courting. The first 50% of breeding is the courting phase, during which the two sheep get acquainted with one another. If they leave the barn during this phase, they will not breed a Gen 2 sheep. However, they will receive something. The butcher has a standing offer of chops to all courting sheep, with the amount proportional to how long they have been courting. The butcher also provides chops to wolves who steal during courting. While he knows that his offers may increase the chop supply short term, the shrewd butcher makes these offers in an effort to keep chops supply lower long term. Nurturing. Exactly 50% of the way through breeding, a Gen 2 sheep is born. The remainder of the breeding process is then the nurturing phase, during which the two sheep nurture their young to increase its maximum energy. Farmers can be utilized in either phase of breeding, and the owner of the sheep may apply as many available farmers as they choose during a single breeding process. Farmers offer breeding sheep two capabilities. Advancement. Instantly advance the courting or nurturing phase. During courting, a farmer can advance the breeding process closer to the moment of birth. During nurturing, a farmer can immediately add to the maximum energy of a Gen 2 sheep. Protection. Secretly protect your sheep and their offspring from wolves for a period of time. If any wolf breaks into a barn currently protected by a farmer, the farmer will successfully fend them off. As long as the farmer is in the barn, it will fend off wolves, even if more than one attempts to steal. Following use, farmers will need to cool down. While a pair of sheep breed in a closed barn, a wolf may decide to break in an attempt to either receive chops from the butcher during the courting phase or steal their young during nurturing. Wolves will spend energy to do so and will need to cool down following a steal attempt. Steal attempts have a variety of outcomes, some of which are dependent on the alpha score of the attacker. During the courting phase, if the barn is unprotected, the wolf will receive chops from the butcher. If it's protected by a farmer, the wolf will receive nothing. During the nurturing phase, if the barn is unprotected, the wolf may enter the barn and wait a certain period of time, during which higher alpha wolves can kick you from the barn. If there is a lower alpha wolf inside, kick the wolf from the barn, enter the barn, and wait a certain period of time, during which higher alpha wolves can kick you from the barn. If there is equal or higher alpha wolf inside, there is a failure to steal and you receive nothing. If the barn is protected by a farmer, again, it's a failure to steal and you receive nothing. Breeding wolves. To begin breeding, 2 Gen 0 or Gen 1 wolves must find an open den on the peak and spend energy, chops, and wool to enter. For clarity, a Gen 0 and Gen 1 wolf can breed with each other. Like sheep breeding, wolf breeding has two phases. Courting. The first 50% of breeding is the courting phase, during which the two wolves get acquainted with one another. If they leave the den during this phase, they will receive nothing. Nurturing. Exactly 50% of the way through breeding, a Gen 2 wolf is born. The remainder of the breeding process is then the nurturing phase, during which the two wolves nurture their young to increase its maximum energy. Gen 2 traits. The alpha score of Gen 2 wolves shall be the average alpha score of their parents, rounded down. Despite this, there will be no alpha 8 Gen 2 wolves. Fur colors of Gen 2 sheep and wolves are entirely new and are randomly determined. Some furs are rarer than others. All other traits of Gen 2 sheep and wolves are determined as follows. Each trait is determined independently of the others. For each trait, there is a 33.3% chance that the trait will match the first parent. There is a 33.3% chance that the trait will match the second parent. There is a 33.3% chance that the trait will be random, with a probability distribution equivalent to that of the Gen 0, Gen 1 smart contract. Despite this, all Gen 2 sheep and wolves are guaranteed to be unique. Traits will be re-rolled if a duplicate would have been minted. Collecting and looting resources. On the farm, sheep can collect grass, stone, water, and wood from any land they choose. Wolves can loot their collected resources. To begin collecting, sheep must spend a one-time energy cost. While sheep collect, they will continuously spend their energy. The rate at which a sheep will collect a resource is primarily determined by the following factors. Resource base rate, the rate of resource production in the community where the sheep collects. Other sheep. The more sheep that collect the same resource in the same community, the less of the resource will be available to each individually. Time. The longer a sheep collects, the faster it will collect. In addition to the rate of collection, the amount of resource that a sheep will claim at the end of collecting is determined by the following factors. Community tax rate. A certain amount of collected resources will be due to the landowners in the community. Weather. The weather on the day that a sheep chooses to end collecting or is looted by a wolf results in a multiplier on the amount of resources collected. Looting. If the sheep is looted by a wolf, they will receive only a fraction of the resources they collected, dependent on the outcome of a microgame played with the wolf. Collecting sheep may also choose to make use of farmers, who provide 3 distinct capabilities within collecting. Boosting. Multiply the collection rate for a period of time. Bumping. Instantly collect an additional amount of the resource. Protecting. Publicly protect your sheep from wolves for a period of time. While unlimited farmers may be used during a single collecting cycle, only one farmer may be active at a time. If a collecting sheep is not protected by a farmer, a wolf can loot its resources by spending energy and burning wool, and afterward cooling down. When a wolf loots a sheep, one of 2 looting games is played, as determined by the weather. Both games are played asynchronously, and the sheep must plan its choices at the beginning of the collecting process. Higher alpha wolves have a greater advantage over sheep in looting games. Looting games. Sheep's Dilemma game. The sheep and wolf are each given a simple choice. Choose to share the resources or choose to be greedy. Each player's winnings depend on their choice and the other player's choice. 3 rounds of the game are played. Note that any wolves who do not complete a round of Sheep's Dilemma game on time default to the choice of share. Any wolves who do not complete a round of Wolf's Gambit game on time default to the choice of 5. Wolf's Gambit game. The sheep and wolf each state a number between 1 and 9. Neither player knows the other player's stated number. Their 2 numbers are then added together. If the sum is greater than 10, which is a bust, the sheep receives 0% of the prize in the round. The wolf receives a minority. The remainder is burned. If the sum is less than or equal to 10, which is a success, each player receives a percentage of what's at stake in the round, equivalent to their contribution to the sum. For example, if a sheep selects 2 and a wolf selects 7, the sheep gets 20%, the wolf gets 70%, and 10% is burned. 3 rounds of the game are played. A history of each sheep and wolf's results in previously played looting games is available to all. Delegation. Through delegation, players can enable others to use their sheep and wolves without transferring ownership. To delegate a sheep or wolf, simply add a new wallet address as a delegate and select which sheep or wolves the wallet can play with. Owners can have multiple delegates for the same sheep or wolf. Either the owner or any of their delegates can play with it at any time. Delegates can take any action in the game, and the owner of the sheep or wolf will receive the benefit of those actions. Resources collected, resources looted, or a stolen sheep. Breeding is a special case, however. If a player enters a barn using one owned sheep and one sheep delegated to them, the wallet that owns the sheep, which is used to initiate the process, will receive any chops or offspring. The same applies to dens. Resource exchange. Players can swap the 5 in-game resources for one another by visiting the shopkeeper at the resource exchange. The resource exchange is an automated market maker. Once the game is underway and the economy developing, we will actively evaluate the integration of wool into the resource exchange. The farmer's market. A free market to list and rent farmers for a single use in exchange for wool. Farmers are delisted from the farmer's market in the following situations. Upon being rented by another player, in which case they are no longer available. Upon transfer to a different wallet, thereby avoiding situations where a new farmer owner unintentionally rents out a farmer. And lastly, upon manually delisting by the owner. The butcher. Players can visit the butcher to burn their sheep in return for chops. The amount of chops received is equivalent to the maximum energy of the sheep. Any generation of sheep can be burned. Wool deposit and withdrawal. Players can deposit their on-chain wool into their in-game wallet at any time. Upon doing so, their wool is burned on the blockchain and can be reminted at any time by withdrawing it from the game. Players can withdraw in-game wool to the blockchain with a maximum of 1 transaction per 72 hours for safety and security. Withdrawing wool from the game mints it on the blockchain. Players who won wool in wool event number 4 and players who are due to receive 5,000 wool from purchasing a piece of land in November of 2021 will find their raw rewards in their in-game wallet. Wool cycle. All wool spent in the game and not directly due to structure owners is either burned or added to community rewards. Through the former, the shepherd enjoys himself. Through the latter, players can compete to win wool previously spent in the game. Many games of the past have suffered from excessive inflation that has outpaced the growth of the player base and economy. The cycle outlined here provides another means to build a healthy economy. The peak gameplay. A massive multiplayer competition for wool from community rewards will intermittently take place on the peak. More details will be released in advance of the first game. Wool and the sheep or wolf will be required to participate. Appendix: Game values. Farm-wide resource production rate level 1. Grass, 3,500 hourly production rate. Wood, 4,000 hourly production rate. Stone, 1,000 hourly production rate. Water, 1,500 hourly production rate. Resource level production multipliers. Level 1, multiplier 1. Level 2, multiplier 1.1. Level 3, multiplier 1.25. Level 4, multiplier 1.45. Grass upgrade costs, cumulative thresholds. Recipe ingredient: grass, level 1, 0, level 2, 1,500, level 3, 6,500, level 4, 24,800. Recipe ingredient: wood, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 7,400, level 4, 28,400. Recipe ingredient: stone, level 1, 0, level 2, 100, level 3, 1,900, level 4, 7,100. Recipe ingredient: water, level 1, 0, level 2, 200, Level 3, 2,800. Level 4, 10,600. Wood upgrade costs, cumulative thresholds. Recipe ingredient, grass, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,300, level 4, 4,100. Recipe ingredient, wood, level 1, 0, level 2, 1,700, level 3, 1,500, level 4, 4,700. Recipe ingredient, stone, level 1, 0, level 2, 100, level 3, 400, level 4, 1,200. Recipe ingredient, water, level 1, 0, level 2, 200, level 3, 600, level 4, 1,800. Stone upgrade costs, cumulative thresholds. Recipe ingredient, grass, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,300, level 4, 4,100. Recipe ingredient, wood, level 1, 0, level 2, 422, level 3, 1,519, level 4, 4,725. Recipe ingredient, stone, level 1, 0, level 2, 422, level 3, 380, level 4, 1,181. Recipe ingredient, water, level 1, 0, level 2, 203, level 3, 570, level 4, 1,772. Water upgrade costs, cumulative thresholds. Recipe ingredient, grass, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,300, level 4, 4,100. Recipe ingredient, wood, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,500, level 4, 4,700. Recipe ingredient, stone, level 1, 0, level 2, 100, level 3, 400, level 4, 1,200. Recipe ingredient, water, level 1, 0, level 2, 600, level 3, 600, level 4, 1,800. Defense upgrade costs, cumulative thresholds. Recipe ingredient, grass, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,300, level 4, 4,100. Recipe ingredient, wood, level 1, 0, level 2, 400, level 3, 1,500, level 4, 4,700. Recipe ingredient, stone, level 1, 0, level 2, 100, level 3, 400, level 4, 1,200. Recipe ingredient, water, level 1, 0, level 2, 200, level 3, 600, level 4, 1,800. Sabotage costs and effects. Under the light, sabotage. Alpha score 5. Wool burn 200. Energy cost 15 energy. Effect 140. Alpha score 6. Wool burn 200. Energy cost 15 energy. Effect 154. Alpha score 7. 200 wool burn. Energy cost 15 energy. Effect 168. Alpha score 8. Wool burn 200. Energy cost 15 energy. Effect 210. Aggressive sabotage. Alpha score 5. Energy cost 25 energy. Effect 320. Alpha score 6. 25 energy. Effect 352. Alpha 7. 25 energy. Effect 384. Alpha score 8. Energy cost 25 energy. Effect 480. Note: effect represented is the amount to be subtracted from the chosen community silo. Defense multipliers on wolf sabotaging, looting, and stealing. Defense level 1, energy cost multiplier 1. Defense level 2, energy cost multiplier 1.05. Defense level 3, energy cost multiplier 1.1. Defense level 4, energy cost multiplier 1.15. Weather effects, weather type sunny, collecting claim multiplier 1.2, game played sheep's dilemma game. Weather type cloudy, collecting claim multiplier 1, game played wolf's gambit game. Weather type rainy, collecting claim multiplier 0.8, game played wolf's gambit game. Farmer capabilities and cooldowns. Farmer type Big Daddy, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 20 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 20 days, immediate resource increase 500. During breeding, immunity from stealing 3 days, immediate increase energy 37.5. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 10 times. Farmer type Big Mama, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 20 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 20 days, immediate resource increase 500. During breeding, immunity from stealing 3 days, immediate increase in energy 37.5. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 10 times. Farmer type 100 years, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 15 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 15 days, immediate resource increased 375. During breeding, immunity from stealing 2.5 days, immediate increase in energy 30. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 8 times. Farmer type above average Jane, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 12 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 12 days, immediate resources increased 300. During breeding, immunity from stealing 2 days, immediate increase in energy 22.5. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 6 times. Farmer type The Kid, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 12 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 12 days, immediate resource increased 300. During breeding, immunity from stealing 2 days, immediate increase in energy 22.5. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 6 times. Farmer type Diesel, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 10 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 10 days, immediate resources increased 250. During breeding, immunity from stealing 1.5 days, immediate increase in energy 22.5. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 5 times. Farmer type average Joe, cooldown 30 days, wool burn 200. During resource collection, immunity from looting 8 days, multiplier on resource rate 2 times for 8 days, immediate resources increased 200. During breeding, immunity from stealing 1 day, immediate increase in energy 15. For tax collection, land boost multiplier 4 times. Note: boost does not apply to wool taxes. Sheep maximum energy. Generation 0, maximum energy 1000. Generation 1, maximum energy 800. Generation 2, maximum energy 375 to 750. Wolf maximum energy. Generation 0, maximum energy 2000. Generation 1, maximum energy 1600. Generation 2, maximum energy 600 to 1200. Energy to move between communities. Type: Wolf, energy 15, wool burn 100. Type sheep. Energy 15, wool burn 100. Sheep breeding costs. Energy per parent 275. Grass 2,000. Wool determined by barn owner. Sheep collecting costs. One-time energy fee, the amount 10. Daily energy fee, the amount 2. Wolf breeding costs. Energy per parent 750. Chops 1,000. Wool to be determined by den owner. Wolf looting costs. Energy 25. Cooldown 24 hours. Wool burn 200. Wolf stealing costs. Energy 550. Cooldown 96 hours. Wool burn 200. Stealing. Time to be kicked by a higher alpha wolf. 7 days. Barn stats and build costs. Level 1. Breeding time in days is 40. Steel cost multiplier 1. Build costs. Wool 2,000. Stone 500. Wood 2,000. Level 2. Breeding time in days 30. Steel cost multiplier 1.1. Wool 2,000. Stone 1,000. Wood 4,000. Level 3. Breeding time in days 27. Steel cost multiplier 1.2. Wool 2,000. Stone 1,625. Wood 6,500. Den stats and build costs. Level 1. Breeding time in days 40. Build costs. Wool 7,000. Stone 1,000. Wood 4,000. Level 2. Breeding time in days 30. Wool 7,000. Stone 3,000. Wood 12,000. Level 3. Breeding time in days 27. Wool 7,000. Stone 4,875. Wood 19,500. Farm. Sheep bathhouse stats and build costs. Level 1. Recharge time in days 40. Build costs. Wool 2,000. Water 2,500. Stone 500. Level 2. Recharge time in days 30. Wool 2,000. Water 5,000. Stone 1,000. Level 3. Recharge time in days 27. Wool 2,000. Water 8,125. Stone 1,625. Note: the time to recharge is independent of the maximum energy of the sheep. For example, a sheep with 0 energy requires 40 days to recharge to full in level 1 bathhouse regardless of its maximum energy. Similarly, a sheep with current energy at 50% of its maximum energy requires 20 days to recharge to full in a level 1 bathhouse regardless of its maximum energy. Farm, sheep, jug stats and costs. Level 1. Energy per jug 25. Jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill bathhouse 500. Level 2. Energy per jug 34. Jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill bathhouse 500. Level 3. Energy per jug 38. Jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill bathhouse 500. Peak. Wolf bathhouse stats and build costs. Level 1. Recharge time in days 10. Build costs. Wool 20,000. Water 5,000. Stone 1,000. Level 2. Recharge time in days 8. Wool 20,000. Water 15,000. Stone 3,000. Level 3. Recharge time in days 6. Wool 20,000. Water 24,375. Stone 4,875. Note: the time to recharge is independent of the maximum energy of the wolf. For example, a wolf with 0 energy requires 10 days to recharge to full in a level 1 bathhouse regardless of its maximum energy. Similarly, a wolf with current energy at 50% of its maximum energy requires 5 days to recharge to full in a level 1 bathhouse regardless of its maximum energy. Peak, wolf jug stats and costs. Level 1, energy per jug 200, jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill the bathhouse 5,000. Level 2, energy per jug 250, jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill bathhouse 5,000. Level 3, energy per jug 334, jugs per day 1. Wool to drain or refill bathhouse 5,000. Share during bust of Wolf Game's Gambit. Alpha score 5, multiplier 20%. Alpha score 6, multiplier 22.5%. Alpha score 7, multiplier 25%. Alpha score 8, multiplier 30%. Where spent wool goes. Destination, community rewards and peak. 95%. Burned, 5%. Note, excludes wool fees set by landowners. Those fees are 100% theirs.